How's it, everybody? Welcome back to the Rocky Fern. My name is Luca and I have OI type 4. And in today's episode, we're going to be continuing the house tour with part 2. We're going to be checking out the garage section of it. It's an indoor sectioned off area. My boys are going to come in and show you their favorite plants. So let's get into it.
And then this plant here is a pitcher plant. And it's my favorite of these gardens because pitcher plants, well, I just like pitcher plants because they're so big and they catch their own food in these things. And
Aren't they beautiful? Let's get a close-up of your favorite pitcher. Oh, wow. Look at that. That is so cool.
It is. And this one's a special color. It's probably just developing or something.
Yeah, hasn't opened yet. That's right.
And then these leaves are pretty cool too.
What do you like about the leaves?
They're stiff and, yeah, I kind of like stiff leaves.
And a little fuzzy too, huh?
A little bit on the edges.
And really pretty red peristomes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what material or medium they're being kept in? What this growing medium is?
No.
I call it pond. I don't call it pond. It's homemade pond that I made.
Oh, I would have called it rocks.
Rocks, yep. It's essentially rocks. Okay. Anything else?
No.
Hi again, everybody. This is my favorite plant in this collection. Well, I'd like to say my favorite. I have so many. But we call this one alfalfa because if you can see, he has a little stripe right there.
Let me get in on that.
Right there. Like alfalfa from Little Rascals.
What's that? Okay. Okay.
And I really like this plant because of its designs. I just really like it a lot. It's very beautiful. I just like it a lot. Thank you.
Wait, let's look at the mature pictures here. You got some undulation on the flaps here. Beautiful coloring, dark peristome. It is a great choice. Let's see, this is the newest picture right there. Where's this? Oh, it's this guy. Yeah, look at that. Underside is pretty cool. Pretty good sized pictures so far. These are still lower or basal pictures. All right, guys, this is the garage greenhouse that I call. It's all lit with artificial lighting. I've got plants everywhere. It would be a lot more tidy, but I have chickens and they come and they scratch everything. So it's a daily chore of having to sweep this out. But we'll start over here. Ignore these three things, nothing's in there, but we have an Utricularia with a Drosera just being kept in this moss. It's being grown by this GE light. And we have another Utricularia. By the way, the first Utricularia is Alpina. Has these nice big leaves. It's due for a repot, I believe, and I think this Drosera is a capensis. It's a voluntary grow. Then this is a Utricularia reniformis F. Corte, the form Corte. It's pretty cool. It does have these nice big leaves. I'm still trying to get it to adjust to underneath this grow light. It was being grown out in direct sun, which I seem to like better, but it was getting attacked, so I have it in here now. I'm going to do a repot on this soon. Get this guy out of the way. This is a hybrid between two different Vetchias, and Nepenthes, two different Vetchias. It's from Predatory Plants, and they're calling it the Valiant Valor, which is a gorgeous, gorgeous hybrid. This is a Vecchio Barrio crossed with a Vecchio Golden, and that's pretty cool. This right here is an Eddy, Nepenthes Edwardsiana. It's very small. Let me see if I can get in there at all. So it did a pretty nice leaf jump. I've had it just for maybe a month. I'm really digging that. And then we have some more Drosera in here. I believe it's a capensis. Typically is capensis. Then right here we have a really cool Nepenthes. This is a seedling And so that one just is also pretty darn new. Then back here we have oh my goodness, let me see if I can remember this. This is a Nepenthes splendens, I believe. I got it as a $8 plug from Derek over there at the Houseplant Co. We're planting with dirt, and so I think he said it was a splendens, I believe. Then right here we have a pretty cool South American pitcher plant. This is Heliamphora ciliata, I believe. Let me double check that. And you'll notice that a lot of my furniture is just homemade. It may not look the best, but it definitely gets the job done. This is Heliamphora ciliata, the Grand Sabana. And it was one plant, and I split it to 4 different plants. And it's also growing with a Durasa right here. I'm not sure what kind that is. It just popped up. And I keep pulling this weed right here, but it keeps growing back. So there's that. All right, and then as we move into this little prop box here, it's not necessarily a prop box, which is why I'm going to show it to you now. This is just one of those plastic shoe display cases, but they make really good vivarium, terrarium type style. But I needed something with a little bit higher humidity. You can see that there's a Philodendron verrucosum in there. A very cool Anthurium splendidum, which you'll see eventually in the Equigenera unboxing that I do. Then there is I believe that's a Begonia rosea pincta. And then we have a seedling Aglonema pictum tricolor in there. So they seem to be liking it in there. We'll keep moving across here. Let me back out just a little bit more. Okay, so this is my Anthurium lapoanum. This is its newest leaf right here, and I think it's enjoying it. It's being kept in Leca. I don't keep too many plants in Leca, but this one's liking it. Back here we have a Alocasia bambino variegated. Bambino is a dwarf form of the Amazonica, and it has these really pretty variegation. And this is its newest leaf. In the video you see of me transplanting all my alocasias, which will come out after this video, I was talking about how this is its newest leaf. I think this is its newest leaf, and it's not very variegated, but then this one right here is super variegated. And it's smaller because I did transplant it, so it's doing a little bit of a shock. Okay, so in this, I'm gonna cheat a little bit. This is technically a prop box, not really. It's just a very high humid place. I have 2 orchids that, seem to be making a comeback. They weren't liking where I had them before. This one didn't like it right from the beginning, but I'm hoping the high humidity will help. But here's the big guy. This is Anthurium climissemioides, or clitomioides. It's a very bulate leaf, gorgeous plant. I've got new growth right here. It is slower growing for me, but it has super healthy roots. Let me see if I can zoom in there. Yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? So super roots, super nice roots. It's doing pretty good for me. I'm hoping, this is the original leaf though, so I'm hoping for some pretty awesome growth here coming up. We'll keep trying this method out for a little while. As long as I'm showing growth, I'll just keep at it. That's doing really, really well for me. So let's keep hoping for some success. Okay, against this back wall, we're gonna look at a couple things. This is a recovering Hoya sigillatus that's being kept in pond. I put some moss on top. I'm really hoping this is going to do the trick. We have a Huperzias that's blooming, which I really, really enjoy. Couldn't get a smell off of it. Then we have a Hoya croniana super silver. And then also a Hoya nicholsonii, the Nova Ghost, which is showing some pink sun stressing, which is beautiful. A lot of silver in this. And then back here, moving right to left, we have a white princess, a white knight, and a white wizard. I accidentally broke the growth tip off of the white princess. Then we have a Anthurium Bessier af, which, look at that leaf. This is a fresh import from Equigenera, along with this metallicum. This is Anthurium metallicum. And golly, isn't that freaking beautiful? Okay, keep moving out. We have an anthurium. It came to me as miscellaneous, but I believe it's a clarinervium, some sort of clarinervium. We have an anthurium warquenum. I have some very exciting, I have a very big secret about my warquenums, and the queens. I have about 10 seedlings, and they came from variegated siblings. All the variegated seedlings died, so my hope is that I will breed these and get some variegated offspring, and hopefully show you some variegated warquenums. Something to keep looking forward to. Okay, then I have a Thai constellation, which is showing some pretty decent coloration. It's a seedling that's probably 3 times the size of when I first got it. I don't know the name of this anthurium. Graham and I were at a nursery and we saw some berries, so I picked, I think, 2 berries that were ripe, and we ended up getting 3 viable seeds from it. So it's very cool. Here's another warquenum, very pretty. Then down here we have my Anthurium forgettii, or forgetti. You can see that close sinus. To me, it looks like the abs of a superhero. You just need the head and the arms. This is a propagation of Ripsalis paradoxa, which is not taking. This is a bar trap tropical Philodendron nangartiense, and it has very pale leaves, and so I'm thinking it's needing a little bit less light, so I'm going to move that to less light. We have a cutting of a Scindapsus silverian. This is, I purchased this as a Cebu blue, but I'm starting to think it's an Amedium silver. This is an Anthurium erysimioides. Oops. It's the Anthurium that gets trilobes, and its oldest, biggest leaf is definitely trilobed. What's cool about this plant is it is taking forever to push out new leaf, but it has a ton of new roots, and the roots are purple. Let me just get in on that. Look at that. All those roots are brand new, and it's growing into a very nice aroid mix. It kind of looks like Utricularias, but not as narrow of a leaf. Then we have a seedling Anthurium veitchii. I don't think it's the narrow. This is an unknown Anthurium. Has a very cool story. This is part of the Houseplant Co. shipment that got delayed by USPS for about 3 weeks. They all came pretty much on death's door, and out of like the 15 plants that came in, only 3 I lost, so that's kind of cool. And this is a Philodendron Pink Princess, but it's the black cherry form, and it definitely has a lot more pink in it than my current Pink Princess. Then this guy right here is an Anthurium pallidophorum. So that's really cool. It's starting to, this is its newest leaf right here, and it's starting to get some decent length on it. And this is a Philodendron tortum. It's starting to get those characteristic leaves. This is a Philodendron paradiso verde, and it's the only variegation like that, like this, that I have, so that's kind of cool. Then this is the devil's backbone. This is Euphorbia typhimaloides, and even though it is a euphorbia, it does not like a lot of bright light. Like my other euphorbias just can get hit with a ton of sun. Not this guy. It died all back, and it needs a lot more water than what I'm used to. This is the top cut of the Dieffenbachia reflected that I was talking about in my first video, where I have the basil shoots that are inside the house, but this guy was all wonky growing, you can kind of see, and it just kept growing real tight. But once I cut the basils off, or I cut really the top part off and grew it out here, it's doing really well. I have a repot video coming up of this guy going into a much bigger pot, but you can see it's starting to get that nice camo coloring on the leaves, and then that neon stripe in the middle is where it gets the name Reflector. This is a ZZ plant, but it is the, I think it's the Zancy form. It's a dwarf form of ZZ plant. Then right here we have a carnivorous bromeliad. This is Brachina or Brachynia reducta, and it was, for a lot of years they didn't know if this plant actually produced or was doing active carnivory. But the cool part about it is when they sample the water that collects on the inside of this bromeliad, once it's much bigger, there are digestive enzymes in it. So keep watching, because we'll have some updates when this thing gets really big. That would be beautiful. Then we have a Anthurium crystallinum along with its sister. These all came from the same seeds. The other two are inside. This damage is from when I had a mouse problem and I first got this plant and it nibbled on it. This was a freebie. This is Senecio myconioides, and it's such a pretty plant. Purple underleaves. It is a succulent, but it's definitely one of those succulents that likes a little bit more moisture than others. Then this is Dischidia. This is the imbricata, the wrinkle leaf form though. So very pretty. And then, let me move this guy for now. Then right here we have a cutting of the Dischidia million hearts, the Dischidia ruscifolia. So that's really pretty. And it's just kept in this crazy tray. These two are the Anthurium seedlings. That bird nest anthurium that Grandma and I picked the berries off of. 3 viable seeds. These two are much smaller than that first one. And look what I found. Is that a slug? No, it's not. Okay. Thought it was a slug. It's like my worst enemy. That's another ZZ cutting that looks like it grew a huge caudiciform. Wow, look at that. I didn't know ZZs did that. They are actually, it's not a caudiciform. They have like a big fat taproot. And then this is a Hoya carnosa compacta, the variegated. This is the outer variegated one, and it's doing really well in pond. This thing is about 4 times bigger than the cutting I put in there. And then this is a lepismium, I believe. And what's cool about this is I found this little cutting, this guy right here, in a pot of another plant. I can't even remember what plant it was. Like they were taking cuttings, or maybe this broke off and landed in that pot. Wasn't rooted. It was dry and wrinkled, and so once I found, like, oh shoot, I don't even know what that is. So I put it in some pond, and bam, it took off. Okay, so now we're going to get into a bunch of pitcher plants, starting up top here. So this guy is an A4, and I will put the crosses, the parentage of these plants on the screen, because some of them are actually quite long. And that's one of its newest pictures, and it's just incredible. Came out lime green and then started to get this rosy pink rust color to it. That's going to be a pretty big picture because the base on it's pretty rigid, pretty robust. Fuzzy new growth, pretty cool. Yeah, I really like it. I keep all my pictures for now in, not all of them, I keep most of them in pond, and it seems to be doing the trick. I do actually fertilize with the ones that are being kept in pond, not only in the pitcher but also when I water them. This is a very cool baby pitcher plant. This is Raja, Nepenthes Raja, which get enormous. I believe they're a highland variety, which is why it might be slow growing. And it does get pretty warm in this greenhouse. I keep saying greenhouse, it's garage area. But Rajas get an enormous lid to them, so they're kind of a very cool plant. Oh, that's gonna put it on. Okay. Then there's this guy. This is a very pretty plant. Look at that newest picture. Peristome's got some nice striping on it. Mottled base. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. These are pretty delicate looking pictures, and this is one of my only pictures that the whole leaf turns red under sun stress. Fuzzy petioles, fuzzy leaves. It is a beautiful, beautiful plant. There's the top. I really like this plant a lot. Haven't named that one. I don't know if I will, but like I said, it's my only red one. This was Graham's favorite. I'll make sure to put the parentage up here. This is alfalfa, that I've nicknamed alfalfa, mainly due to the little growth right there that comes out on every picture on this plant. A lot of pictures have it. Even this guy has it. But that one just struck me as alfalfa. So this is a Candy Dreams Grex, which is a name for a hybrid between the very famous Candy Dreams over there at Red Leaf Exotics. If the tag's not broken, you know, I'll put the name right here of what it is. But it has beautiful peristome on it. They kind of fold back like this and expose more peristome, and then I noticed the lid kind of tightens up. This is an older picture, but even on some of the newer pictures they do that. And I love the undulation of the leaves. This is also very fuzzy Nepenthes Grex. Beautiful red speckling on some pretty nice green pictures. Love that one. That is my biggest picture, like I said. It has a basil that just shot out a little pup. It's just the tiniest little picture right there. So beautiful. This is my very first picture plant. This is Nepenthes Bill Bailey, a pretty famous hybrid. I believe it was produced in the UK, but it's named after a very famous UK comedian, Bill Bailey. You guys can let me know. Very cool. Just pure purple pictures. Hardy, has very long petioles that attach to the, these aren't petioles, but very long stems that attach to the tip of the leaf, because this is all really one leaf. So what would you call this part? Even though, see, the petioles you'd think are right here that attach to the stem, and then it has this part. So they have the beginning part of the leaf, and then you have this extended part that turns into a modified tip. This is all leaf, so I don't know. Then we have up here another type. This is A11. Kind of has like an elbow look to the peristome. This guy has no peristome, like the lid got broken off or something. That's interesting. I wonder if that's going to continue like that. Then this is another pretty cool one. This is Erwin's favorite. This is a very pretty one. This is a really complicated hybrid. Beautiful. Kind of looks like Candy Dream Grex, sort of, but it's not. And back there we have, let me see what number that is. This is A6, so I'll list what it is on there. This is one of the only Nepenthes that I'm keeping in pure sphagnum. This is truncata, and what I like about truncata is the leaf structure. They're like little hearts. They're not like these long strap-like leaves. They end right there, like little clover, butterfly. Truncata get huge, and this is its biggest picture right here. They get enormous, but tiny little lids. Beautiful coloring. Look at that. You got that green against that red. I think it's such a cool species. And I do have quite a few hybrids, but there are some in here that are pure species. This is A2. This is kind of short, squat little picture. Beautiful. I do get a lot of ants that get attracted to this one. And up here we have a cutting of a Hoya croniana black that's starting to root. This is A3 up here, and it has this is definitely Raja hybrid. It's definitely got Raja in the mix. I would bet money on it. Just Rajas, they look like that huge lid that form of a really big squat picture. So I'll put the parentage right there. This is Hoya edawensis. Beautiful, beautiful Hoya that has really cool leaves to it. It's put on a ton of growth. This is a Hoya rosita that I took a cutting on. It doesn't seem like it's too happy in pond. Some Hoyas don't like pond, And the Rosita might be one of those. Down there we have a Hoya ampullaria that's starting to show its beautiful squat little pitchers. Here we have a Hoya hamada, which is going to be amazing if I can get it to grow. It is also a highland species, and it's not liking things too much, but it's cranking out growth, so that's all right. Here's the only other one that I have that is producing rose-colored reddish leaves. This is A7, and look at this. Look at that picture. Oh, super nice. Really, really pretty. Look at the striping on that guy. Golly. The striping is kind of a sign of a veitchii influence. Then right here we have a orchid. This is Scaphosepalum macrodactylum from Ecuador. It's definitely a miniature orchid, but all that top growth there is new. I just have it right here on the same pole as my Philodendron atabopoense. Keep moving over here to pictures. This is A12. This has some really pretty pictures on it too. This has a thick peristome. You can see all the exudate right up here that is attracting a bunch of debris. And that's usually ants that come in there and do whatever they do. But this definitely has a truncata influence because look at the leaves. And then move over, I have a Philodendron verrucosum. It's starting to crawl up a moss bowl. It's kicking butt. Move down here, we have my Begonia chlorosticta, green form. And it's being kept out in ambient humidity, guys. So chlorosticta is actually doing pretty good. I recently transplanted my alocasias into aroid mixes. But my alocasia Tanderusa Jacqueline had 3 plants in there that I split up, and so one of them I put back into pond to kind of focus on root growth. This is Anthurium corrugatum. Golly, look at that texture. Isn't that crazy? That's beautiful. Over here, and these are also fresh imports from Ecuagenera, along with this guy. This guy is very beat up. Oh, leaf just fell off. The guy very beat up, but this is a Philodendron verrucosum, the Amazon Sunset. So it has a lot of orange and oranges and like burnt auburns that are mixed into the leaf. I'm hoping it will make a quick recovery. Then right here we have a I think it's Guperdia mosaica. This is also known as Calathea mosaica, and it was being kept out in another part of the yard, and so it was getting way too much sun. So these guys definitely like a little bit less light, and so I moved it over here, and all this new growth is much better. Right here we have an anthurium from Ecuagenera called Anthurium pangui night, and it is dark as dark gets. This is a Begonia microsperma. I think it was also known as stouty. This is a very cool dwarf species of ginger, and it has this sugary looking leaf, or flower rather, and it's the Shazam kind of variant, and it hasn't even developed its really striking leaf coloration yet, but it's amazing. Here's my pink princess, which, whatever, it's not really pink. It has one little pink spot right there on that leaf. So, I mean, I'm thinking about getting rid of this guy, maybe not, I don't know. And this is a very cool vining Gesneriad. I got it as a freebie. This guy is called, you can get it. It was being kept in pond, and I think it didn't like it. This is Columnea minor, so that's really cool. Up here we have a red Anderson. For those of you know, you know. Going up a moss pole. Here we have a recovering Hoya imbricata. and kept in pawn against the board. I miss that board every day. And then we kind of strolled over this guy. This is a very big Hoya trebuli. Hoya trebuli. Let me see if I can show it to you guys here. Yeah, Hoya trebuli. Nice new growth on there. A lot of these leaves are brand new on this guy. So, oh, sorry, Trebbiana. That's the name of the Hoya Trebbiana. Put this guy back in here if I can. Okay, so I had to go change the battery and whatnot. Okay, so up front here we have the larger leafed maiden's hair fern. Beautiful plant. It was a lot more full, but when I had that mouse problem, they nibbled it all down, and it's starting to grow back. Right here we have two bat plants, bat flower plants. We have this guy that has a bunch of flowers on it. I don't know if that's the white or the black and vice versa, but I have both. I'm assuming this is the white and the bigger one's the black, because I think the black one is a bigger variety of plant. And then right here we have a bowl of Pygmy Drosera. Beautiful collection. I'll put the names of this guy. Really cool. Of this guy. The guy in the back, which is just a different variant. And then of this really small, teeny pygmy. Then we'll kind of back out here. This is a very cool hanging plant from the Equigenera order. This is Ceratostemma rauchi. And then we'll also look at this guy that also came from the Equigenera import. Beautiful. Gives me hops like feel, but just amazing color, beauty. This is Spirospermum hauti. And we'll come over here and we'll look at the Scindapsus black mamba. It hasn't yet developed the black leaves of the mature plant, but very cool plant. It's on the board. I miss the board every day. Then we have Hoya lauterbauchi maybe. Very cool, globulose leaves, fuzzy. Beautiful. It does have a fuzzy stem, so my inclination is to think that it is hard to root. I could be wrong. Let me move the luxurians real quick. Right here we have the Hoya goldeneye, which I believe is a hybrid. That dark leaf right there is new, and then there's one more that's brand new. It has this nice long runner on it, fine. We'll come over here and kind of get a better look at it. That is its original leaf. It's amazing. Very big leaf variety. And, okay. Then I have this amazing ant plant. I'll put the name on the screen. It's doing a lot of new growth. That that bulb right there, I was going to say caduciform, but I think it's not a caduciform. It might be, is full of chambers, and that's what provides the symbiotic incentive for ants to live in there. Of course, none of the ants here are doing it, but it's grown quite a bit. It's probably tripled in size since I got it. Cool leaves. Very, very pretty. And then we'll just keep doing the bottom for now. In there I have some just some propagations, some more propagations of the Aglaonema pictum tricolor, and some seedlings from this plant. This is also another ant plant that produced berries, and they turned orange, and I planted them. They had 2 seeds each, ended up having viable seeds. So this has a really nice bulb in there as well. That's also full of chambers and maze-like crevices and openings if you were to cut that in half. It's an epiphyte. Then I have this really cool variegated fern. This is Perosia lingua, and it's a variegated. I really enjoy that plant. Right there we have Dischidia. That's flowering, beautiful. This is Dischidia platyphylla. Very cool. I was hoping that it would root and anchor against the wood, and it was for a little while. I'll re-anchor that when I come back. This is Dischidia imbricata, and you can see that it has anchored against the wood, and it's starting to shingle. Very cool, very pretty. This really big leafed Hoya right here. These are 2 new leaves in my care. This is Hoya Meredithy, which is very cool. And there's one more of our Anthurium orchids with a volunteer fern. It's kind of cool. Looks like a kangaroo paw fern. This is a Hoya sparatioides, seed grown from unsolicited plant talk. Has a bloom right there, if I can get it here. Anyway, does not want to. Okay, this is Hoya latifolia, the pot of gold. Beautiful inner variegated variety that is just incredible. This is variegated Hoya huscheliana. This is Hoya crespitiola, the crespitiola. I don't have the name tag in there. The splash. Here we have a pot that I'm kind of just playing around with. It has an Utricularia in it, some moss, a fern. And we might as well go to this guy. This is my Hoya Crimson Queen. A lot of pure white leaves on there, so I'm hoping some of its new growth won't be. It was kept in much brighter conditions, and I'm thinking this particular Hoya or plant does play by the higher the light, higher the variegation. So hopefully I can produce a little bit greener leaves. Right here we have the Liquala matuensis, the mapu palm, and then we have another dwarf species of palm. Very cool. I'll put the name on the screen. And right here we have very cool. This is the mother plant of that ZZ plant. I think it's Zanzi is the variety. Then we'll just do this back wall here. This is my Hoya Waymanii, the long form. This is a very cool Hoya. It kind of looks like a caudata undulata in that it has a very undulated leaf edge. It's fuzzy like a caudata, but it doesn't have the colors of a caudata. Very thick, fuzzy stem, and it's growing for me quite a bit. Then over here we have my Hoya Gadung Gading. That's showing its really nice coloration, kept in pond. This is Hoya insularis, producing very cool. It's like a very large retusis. This is my Hoya parviflora splash. This is my Hoya megalaster, and it is tied for keeping the only 2 leaves for the longest amount of time in my collection. We're going like 3 months now, and it is starting to produce 2 or 3 growth points from the center there. This is another Dischidia. This is Dischidia Jerry. This is Hoya odete. This is Hoya Chalk. Right here. Oh, sorry. This is Hoya Chalk. This is Hoya. Very cool Hoya. Hoya Kumariana. Actually, let me get the whole thing out here. Hoya Kanya Kumariana. Kanya. So this is Hoya Kumariana. Hoya Bauk. This is Hoya Wavy Leaf Vietnam. It definitely is starting to get wavy leaves. And you know me, I love my Vietnamese style plants. Move him up so he's not touching the light. You can see he's got a lot of growth. This is my Hoya campanulata that I showed the blossoms on. Definitely a cool plant. You can see the texture I was talking about earlier. This is Hoya Malaysia. That's a new leaf, so it's very soft. It normally has very thick, Finlaysoni style leaves. We'll just talk about this plant right here. This is the Dischidia major. This is the rattlesnake plant, the skull plant. You can see this leaf right here is starting to get that big, thick interior. This is also a ant symbiote, which is very cool. Up here we have Hoya. This is Hoya passiflora, and this thing is starting to take off for me. This is Hoya passiflora. Has two new tendrils on it. This is a Hoya croniana black. That's where the cutting on the other plant came from. And if you look down here, it's shooting off another peduncle, or another flush on its original peduncle on that spike. But it is not, I don't know, Hoya croniana is the most difficult Hoya that I own. Then we have Hoya Huperzias, very cool one. I think it is quite a bit of light that it's receiving up there, but it's so far, it is showing some sun stressing, but it is growing quite a bit. So it has about 3 or 4 new growth points on it. Come back down here. This, you guys, those 2 small leaves are new leaves in my care. This is Hoya undulata, and it is easily one of my top 3 favorite Hoyas. Growing up, I kept Hoyas, and when I first saw undulata, it just blew me away. So that is beautiful, beautiful leaf. Beautiful. Okay, so continuing off from where we left off. Oh, this guy is out there. Okay. This is Hoya fauziana. Very cool Hoya. Let me get in frame here. Beautiful Hoya, thick leafed, all green, a tiny little bit of splashing, but it's got a huge tendril on it. In fact, I'm going to hang that plant from now on and give the undulata a little bit more room. Then up here we have the Hoya carnosa royal flush. Okay, then right here we have Hoya longicaulis. And then we have Hoya, I bought it as a paticlata variegated, but now we know it's the, I'll put the name on the screen, I can't remember off the top of my head. And then we have Hoya Nongnook. This is one I need you guys' help on. This is a unknown species of Hoya. Very cool. Then right here we have Hoya augustifolia. Ooh, and it even has a couple umbels on it. Peduncles, I mean. Oh, that's so cool. That's a very cool one though. Pretty, beautiful. And then right here we have a Hoya Wilbur Graves, starting to shoot out some flush. I think this is the Chinese phone. And then kind of to finish it off, we have the Hoperzia that are all in these homemade hanging plants. So this is, do I have the name? I don't. So this is a Huperzia species. It's trying to get some new growth on it. This is Hoya or Huperzia Special Blue. This guy right here, which is doing quite well, is a Huperzia numeralifolia. And we're going to come back around over here. This is another really cool Huperzia. And I don't have the name on this one either. I'll try to find them and put them in the screen. And this guy's really cool too. He has a ton of new growth. This is also a blue form. This is Huperzia Gobelii or Gobelli. Very cool. So just one more quick overview of the green. Oh, actually I forgot one spot. Okay, so I have this little corner in here. This is the latest Equigenera import. This is a type of rugulosum. It is kind of a stiffer leaf, but it's not the rugulosum I was thinking. This is my Philodendron 69686. This is a cutting of the mother plant of the Philodendron adipoense, or tabopoense. These are some dwarf orchids. This guy is the Zootrophion or Zootrophion Griffin. Very cool. And then this guy is the Dendrobium Cucumernium. This guy's from Australia, so that's kind of cool. And it's got a really cool look to it. Looks like shriveling up cucumbers. And down there we have my mother plant of my Philodendron Huperzias. This is the strawberry shake, producing non-variegated leaves, but this is the main variegated stem. So anything that it starts to produce out of here, which has 2 growth points, should be variegated. But I really do like the natural color form of a Huperzias, also known as the red emerald. This is a Philodendron glorious. Kind of cool little spot here. I don't think it's sport variegation, but it's very pretty. This is the glorious, so it's a crawler. Then we have my really big Philodendron golden, or ring of fire rather. And then we have my Philodendron golden crocodile right here. So stay tuned, guys, for part 3, which will be the succulents. And as always, if you like what you see, give a thumbs up, subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next adventure.